Let me know once you're able to see my screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yesterday we covered the unary operators, arithmetic operators, logical operators, ternary operators. So today we're going to discuss on keywords. What are keywords and what is their usage within the Java language itself? So keywords are particular words that act as a key to the code. Meaning, let's say you take something called as int. So int means we are telling Java that okay, I'm assigning a variable to you of type int. So this variable will hold integer data type. So int is called a keyword. If you put something called as a public, that means that okay, we are telling Java that okay, whatever variable or whatever method which I'm going to use now, that's a public method. So all these keywords are uh, they are written like they are in what you call the they will be highlighted in bold when you use an IDE. If you see this public class int, except the class name, the method names and the method arguments, whatever you see in bold, those are called as a keywords. So these are reserved keywords. So meaning these keywords cannot be used as variables. Suppose if I want to use int as a variable, it will not allow me to use. If I want to use public as a variable name, it will not allow me to use. If I use class as a variable, it will not allow me to use. So keywords are particular words that will act as a key to the code. So these are predefined by Java, and so they cannot be used as a variable or object or a class name. You cannot use these particular keywords to initialize a method or a class or a variable. So I have given list of all the keywords which are used within our Java. One abstract, boolean, break, byte, case, catch, char, class. So I have given the descriptions also, but we not discuss them in detail. But whenever you have like you have time to check them out, you can just go through them. So we have 40 of them: continue, default, do, double, else, enum, extends, finals, finally, float, for, if, implements, import, instance of, interface, long, native, new, null, package, private, protected, public, return, short, static, shift FP, super. Switch, synchronize, this, throw, transient, try, void, volatile, while. So total we have 40 keywords. Like there are other few keywords also which like we'll be including whenever we just come across them. So these are the keywords and this is the description, like when and where we are going to use them. And these keywords should never be used for initializing your class, method, or variable. So next comes your control statements. So we know that like when you write a particular Java program and you have some 10 lines of code in it, let's say you start the execution from line number 1 and the next line will be executed will be line number 2, next line number 3. So it is a sequential order of execution. So it does not jump from line to line. Whenever you execute it just incrementally appends the line and it executes. So line number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it executes from top to bottom. But if you want to alter the flow, there are particular statements called as control statements which can alter this flow. Okay. Such statements are called as control flow statements. It is one of the fundamental feature of Java, which provides this smooth flow of program. So we have three types of statements which can alter the flow of execution. One is the decision making statement, the other is the looping statement, and the third is the jump statements. So when we take the first type of statement, the decision making statement, we have two statements. One is that is if and switch. In the loop, we have do while loop, for loop, and for each loop. And in the jump statements, you have something called as a create statement and a continue statement. So by using these statements, you can alter the flow of the execution. So let's discuss them in detail. And since we are starting the coding here, right? Uh, Although we don't have anything to pull from our repository, but it's just a good practice to always clone, take a pull from pull. Control V.
మరి వాళ్ళు అక్కడి నుంచే వర్క్ చేసేటప్పుడు ఇక్కడ పేర్లు ఎందుకు పెట్టుకోవడం? వాళ్ళ పేర్లే
వాళ్ళు
పెట్టుకోవచ్చు.
బయట వెండర్స్ తో వాళ్ళతో క్లోజ్ అవ్వాలి. వాళ్ళకి ఎట్లయితే ఈజీగా పాల్పడానికి వస్తుంది. ప్లస్ అట్లా వాళ్ళ పేర్లు ఉంటే కొంచెం ఈజీ.
Spandan, I have muted you just because you're talking. If you have anything, just unmute yourself and put it in the chat window. Okay. So now we are in our Tetra course. Since we're just starting the coding, and we don't like I don't know that since all of you people have access to my Git repository, I can think that okay, you people made some changes, so I'll just do a Git pull from a repository. So this will like I will know that whether you people have made any changes to my repository or not. So here I did a git pull and I noticed that it is already up to date. That means the code which I committed yesterday and the code which I'm going to work today, both are same. Okay, so whenever you are coming to any session, right, just take a pull from the Git repository so that you are up to date when you start working on something. Okay, this is the git pull. Now let's take the if statement and the switch statement. These are called the decision making statements. I see Sahiti. Sahiti, you have any doubt or just unmuted yourself? Okay. So this is the syntax for if-else condition. If expression execute something else, execute the condition. That's it. So okay. Now if you see the syntax, if if condition, open the bracket and close the bracket and write a piece of code. So if this condition is satisfying, this piece of code will be executed. Else, this piece of code will be executed. This is a simple syntax. Nice Java application. So because my age is child and 12 is always 12 is less than 20, this condition has failed and it executed the else condition. So that means 27 line number is not executed. So this way we are altering the flow of execution. So actually after 25 it should execute 26 and it should execute 27 and 28. But since we are putting a condition statement here, based on the condition, our execution flow is changing. Okay, this is a simple if-else condition. Now let's take a look at multiple if-else condition. Okay, so if you have if on if I have added a comment also here. If and a if in between here. So let's say I have if condition and I put one condition here, and within that condition I have one more condition. This line of code will be executed only if this is true. Else, the false of expression 2 will be executed here, and in the outer else, the false of expression 1 will be executed. So by telling it will be difficult for you to understand, but that's just a syntax. Now let's see this example. I have age equal to 12. Now I'm defining some condition called if age is less than 19. So only if age is less than 19, it will enter this loop. So if you just double click on the open curly brace, you'll get to know that we'll get to know the complete block of the code. So only if my age is less than 19, it will enter this block of code. Then I want to do additional filtering that if it is less than 19 and the age is greater than 13, print it as teenage. Else print it as child. So if this condition is executed, this else condition will, 1 minute, just a minute. So if this condition stays true, this line of code will be executed. If this condition holds false, this line of code will be executed. If this condition is false, it doesn't even enter this block. It will simply execute the last else block. This is your if and an if else condition. Like this not a nested if on a if. Dun, 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 dun. Lineage. So if you don't put this if block, my result will be same for 0 to 19. But if I want to, differentiate between 0 to 13 as one age and 13 to 19 as one age, then use this kind of conditional statements. If on a if. Bhavyant, you are not audible. Hey, am I audible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. It's audible now. Okay. Yeah. So is this concept clear? If else condition and if under an if. Yes, but voice is breaking. Sorry, today I have network issues in my area.
Yeah, even we are hearing there is a breakage in your voice. Yeah.
Mm, is it breaking completely or like are you able to understand?
Able to understand, but
Okay.
in
Okay.
some
Okay.
cases.
Okay. I'll do it slowly. So is this if else condition? Okay. Did you people understand this? Okay, I'll take this as yes. And now this piece of code is called your else if ladder. So if you want to continuously check for a condition, simply like let's say now here I'm checking only for three conditions. Like if the age is greater than or equal to 20, and if the age is less than or equal to 19 or 13, I'm just writing few functionalities based on my age. But there are some cases where you need to check against granular values like 19, 91, 91.5, 90, 92.5. So if you want to check those type of values, simply use the if else if ladder. So type if give a condition, execute some piece of code, else if give a condition, execute the piece of code, else if condition, execute a piece of code. And at last, if you are out of all the conditions and if there's nothing, just put a else. This is your else if ladder code. So if condition, else if condition, and else you put it in the last. If none of the conditions matches here, it will simply go and print the else conditions output. So if my mark is 90, my mark is 90. So here my mark is set to greater than or 90. But here mark is set to greater than 80. So grade B will be printed. If I put greater than or equal to 90 here, then it will print as mark is 90 and grade is A. Because we are comparing greater than and equal to symbol. Okay, suppose if I give some trash, if I just give a 9, it simply goes and executes the else condition. Now what if I give some value? Yeah, nothing. Okay, since this is an integer data type, okay, 9.9, even that will not allow. Okay, fine, perfect. Yeah. So this is your if else conditions. Most probably we'll be using these three types of if else conditions. So these are again used to alter the flow of our code execution. The next comes your switch statement. So this is also pretty much straightforward. Like this will work same as your if else if ladder way. So the syntax is this one: switch, pass in a parameter, and case Based on the parameter value, you're going to execute some piece of code here. Switch parameter, case 1, case 2, case 3, case 4, so and so, and let class default. Now let's concentrate on this piece of code. I'm putting int day equal to scanner.next. So since we are working with scanner now, let me tell you what a scanner does. So if you want to print something within a Java application, you use a sysout, the system.out.println. This is the line of code which you'll use to print something. So if you want to take something as an input from a system, you use a package called as scanner. It is coming from java.util.scanner. So what we're doing here, so this is how you instantiate a scanner class. So scanner, simply use SCA, a type control space, it will give you scanner. Again, use a control space, it will give you scanner1 equal to new. New is a keyword. It's in bold, so new is a keyword for creating a new instance of scanner. New instance of scanner. And where do you want to give the input from? Since I'm giving it from a console, I put it as system. STE. System.in. In is the input stream. So with this piece of line, I'm telling Java that create a scanner object which will take the input from my system. That is the line meaning. Okay. So with this scanner, if I type scanner.next int, it will take integer value as the input, and it will assign it to day variable. So let's say if you want to type your own name, you'll put a string name equal to scanner dot next line. So if you use scanner dot next line, it will take string as an input and it will assign to name. This is called a scanner. So if I trigger this piece of code now, it is asking me to enter the number of day. This line is printed with this statement, enter the number of day. Okay. Now it is expecting a value from me because there's a scanner here. So if I type something called as 5, and if I press enter, this number 5 will be taken by the scanner and assigned to day. So in day value would be 5. Now this day is called the parameter for me, parameter for the switch statement. Now, based on this parameter, I'm going to write few cases here. So it will be case. Again, case is a reserved keyword. It's in bold. So you cannot use this as a variable or a method name. So case 1, if my day value, if my parameter value is equal to 1, then print this value. If day is 2, if the parameter value is 2, print this one. If my day value is not in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, then print the default invalid. That's the use of a switch case functionality. Simply take some parameter as the input, and based on your customized cases, write your own piece of code. If nothing is matching, simply use the default. Run as Java application. Let's say now I have defined my cases till 7. What if I pass a value of 10? My day name is 10 and the day name is invalid. Did you get this concept? The switch case statement. You can put in a chat window, or you can speak it. Hello, am I audible or is still breaking?
No, we can hear you.
You can. Okay, fine. Okay. Okay. Are people able to understand the switch case concept?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. So, next we jump into the loop statements. Under the loop statements, we have do while loop, for loop, and for each loop. So let's take for loop. So now I declared a class and I have a main method and I declared something called as an array of elements. So we'll discuss more on arrays like within our further classes. But for now, just take that array is we have an array with list of numbers in it: 75, 35, 48, 93, and 27. Now, if I want to print each value of the array, I need to iterate over the array. Iterate meaning I need to read the array one by one and print them. So so for this, my execution flow would be take the array, read the first element. Again, print the first element. Now go to the second element, print the array, and then go to the third element. So we are doing it repeatedly over the array until the length of the array, which means since we are doing this in a loop, this is called as a looping statement. So so this is how you initialize a for loop. For int I equal to 0. I is called now I can be called as your iterator or your index. You start from 0 and run it over array.length. Like whatever is the length value, you will run you will run this I until the length of the array, and you'll simply increment it I plus plus. Okay, system.out.println array of I, array of the ith element. So for an array, the initial starting position will be starting from 0. So since we are starting from 0, array of 0 is 77, it prints this. Next, it will go up, it will increment the value to 1. Next, the array of 1 is 35, array of 2 is 48, array of 93, array of 4 is 90. Okay, yeah, element 4 is 93 and element 5 is 27. That's it. So length of an array is 5, but index of an array is starting from 0. So if I put equal to length, if I want to iterate over the array with my iterator equal to the array length, it will throw me an exception, index out of bounds exception, because my index is starting from 0, my length is 5, so it will also try to print the fifth element, array of 5, which doesn't even exist because this is array of 0, array of 1, array of 2, array of 3, and array of 4. I have 5 elements starting from 0, so it will be array of 4 is the last element. If I put an is equal to symbol here, with this with this array of 5, you'll get an exception, error running array of 5, out of bounds exception. So be very sure that what condition are you using and how many times you want to run your iterator. So if you put this as 1 and then give array equal to length, this will work fine now. I think even this will not work fine because the element the last element is in index 4. Yep, getting it. So it started printing from 35 because array of 1 is 35, and it will run until array of length minus 1. So this is how you can manipulate your conditions and you can modify your conditions and just get your desired output using a for loop. Now tomorrow in your real-time applications, you don't know the array length. Okay, in such cases, you can make use of your for each loop. Not even in such case, like uh, we have something called as an advanced for loop called the for each loop, where you can simply write for, just give the iterator and just pass in the array. If it is array or array, if it has a map, or if you have a collection out of it, simply pass the collection. That's it. Then simply print the I value. That's it. This is called your advanced for each loop. So you declare an iterator here, and you just pass in the array object. So this for loop will decide how many times it should iterate, how many times the I value should be incremented, and it will give you the I value. So if I run this, it will simply give me the same output. Array length is 5, and this is the array. So if you're going to use this for loop, you need to initialize your I. You need to tell how many times the iterator should be incremented. So you need to know the length value, and also you need to increment it using I++ symbol. But in the advanced for each loop, so you just simply initialize the I and you pass in the array. So this will decide how many times the iterator should increment, and you print out the values. Suppose tomorrow if you're forgetting the syntax, you can make use of your Eclipse autofill tools, FORE. FORE is the keyword. Use control space. It will give you for each loop. Just hit enter. That's it. It will automatically populate your source code. And whatever code you want to do it, right? You just write your own code. Getting this? Did you get the for and the for each loop concept? Hmm. Can anyone respond, please? Just want to know if you are getting it, or if I can repeat it otherwise.
Can you repeat once?
Should you want? Okay, do you want to repeat? Okay. Which one, the for loop or the for each loop?
Both.
Both? Okay. So, okay, let's say I have a variable called array. It is of type array with which holds all the integer values. So 77, 35, 40, 93, and 27. Now, if I want to print each element within this array, like let's say, just a minute. If I start my execution from here, the 77 is there in zeroth element of the array. Okay, 35 is there in first element. 40 is in second element. 93 is in third element, and 27 is in fourth element. So I have total of 5 elements within the array, but the positions of the numbers are starting from 0 to 4. It will start with 0 and it will increment. Now, if I want to print number 35, I need to print it as ARRAY array of number 35, right? Array of 1. So let me remove everything. So array of 1 is 35. If you want to print line number 27, that's the fourth element. If you type array of 4, value is 27. So in real-time coding, I cannot pass this value to get all the to get all the elements of an array. So I need something called as iterator, which will automatically increment, because these values are like these are not predefined for me, because those are random values which a user will give. But I know that 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on until n minus 1. I know these elements are consistent here for me. So what if I put an iterator? Let's say I have an iterator I, and and if I initialize it to I equal to 0, okay. Now I'll use the iterator here now. Here it is I. For the next element, it is I plus 1. For the next element, it is I plus 2. Third one is I plus 3. Similarly, the fourth one would be I plus 4. Okay, so this keeps on incrementing with plus 1, plus 1, plus 1. How many times should I increment it? I must increment it based on the length of the array. Like how many elements I have within this array, I need to increment it those many times. So since my length of the array is 5, I need to increment it till I plus 4 because my index is starting from 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be incremented 5 times for me. Hence, I'll write a for loop for int I equal to 0. I initialize my iterator to 0 and I less than array array dot length array dot length I plus plus. This means starting from I equal to 0, starting from this value, iterate the I value and over this length. That's the meaning. SYSO sys out. Now what do I print here? Array of 4. I'll type array array. Now I passed first number 1, next number 4. So whatever element value I want, I'm just simply passing it. Now these element numbers will be present within my iterator I value. So simply I'll just pass I here. So now for the first iteration, I equal to 0, array of 0 is 77. For the second iteration, let me trigger this. For the second iteration, I value will be 1. So array of 1 is 35. 35. For the third iteration, array of it will be array of 2. Array of 2 is I plus 2, that is 48. So now previously, if I want to print all the 5 elements using this concept, I need to print this statement 5 times. Array of 1, array of 2, array of 3. This way, I need to print them 5 times. If I want to print 5 elements, if I want to print 100 elements, I need to have 100 print statements. Instead of that, we are making use of the for block. So you'll simply initialize the iterator and you run it over the length and simply pass the I variable here. That's it. Did you get it?
So in the for loop statement, the second iteration I less than array dot length, it says, right?
Yes.
So if I is equal to 0 and the variable value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then it uh, shows an 27, 77 up to 27 at the end. So here, what does array dot length, is it a condition or how does the functioning from int I is equal to 0 to I plus plus iteration? How does the functioning workflow? So that's what I am.
Oh, I got a point. So you want to know what does array dot length means, right?
Yes.
Okay. So now array is you can call it as a structure. Array is a structure to store the elements. So within Java, we have many methods to operate over the array. Like if you want to know the length, right? You simply like now I just write the array name, and if I put a dot, I'll get the list of all the methods which are available for that array. If I type dot to string, my array will be converted to a string object. If I put get class, it will be converted to class. If I put array dot length, I will get the length value, length of my array.
Okay.
Meaning, yeah. So if I run it as Java application, my length is 5 here. So what I can do, I can put I less than 5 here. It will work.
Okay.
Okay, you'll get the same output. Because by seeing this, you got to know that the length is 5. You have kept the condition as 5. Tomorrow in a real world, you have lots and lots of arrays, right? You don't know what is the length and what value to put it here. Hence, simply make use of the object here. You have array object, right? And pass it as array dot length. So this will decide what is the length of the array.
Okay.
Make sense, no?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, for me, even this is difficult for me. Like, why do I again need to initialize it, know the length of the array, and again increment the I? Instead of using this way, I can make use of this one. Something called as a for each array, for each loop. I'll write it again for you. FORE. FORE is the keyword. Use the control space. for each int I array. This is my array. So if I pass my array as an input to my for each loop, this will take care of all the initializations. So it will initialize the I to 0 and it will run over array dot length. If I just print system dot, if I print only the I element, it will give me the same output. So with the use of for each loop, you need not know what is the length of the array. You need not initialize the I value or you need not increment the value. Everything will be taken care by this.
So memory will be saved. That's what you mean, right?
Not memory. It's just your you're writing a clean code. That's it.
Okay.
You can write it in this way or you can write it in this way. Both are same. Like both will give the same output. And when you run the source code, both will provide the same byte code.
Okay.
Everything is same. But only if you are using this one, right? It looks simpler and it is easy for you to understand. Like here you need to know the array dot length, and here you need to like suppose now because we know that I need to run the iterator less than array dot length. I keep it as I less than array dot length. What if you don't know and if you put something called as greater than or equal to, you'll get an exception. If you put it as equal to, you'll get an exception. If you put it as less than or equal to, you'll get an exception. So these conditions we do not know. Like we should do some prior analysis before running a loop. Instead of that, if you just put it in a for each loop, this will calculate the length of the array and it will iterate it over the array. All the work is done by this two lines of code. That's why it is called the advanced for loop.
Okay. So in the above statement for loop, in the above for loop, there it says that I plus plus incremented. So can we do rather than I plus 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 I?
You can do it.
Okay.
See, it's again based on your let's see. Now see.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, if you recollect yesterday's concept, these are called your unary operators: plus plus I and I plus plus.
Yeah.
So yesterday, if you take it as a simple concept, it is a simple concept. But those operators are used widely here. So unknowingly, you are using the assignment operator, you are using the arithmetic operator, and you are using the unary operator here. Okay.
Okay. Now I got it.
Cool. Very good. Any other questions or queries? Okay. So we come to the for and for each loop. Let's jump to while loop. So this is also a pretty straightforward condition statement. So you put a while keyword, give a condition, execute some piece of code. That's it. So this is used when number of iterations are not known. Now, if you take an let's say previously we used something called as array concept. So I know my length of my array. Hence, whatever is the length of my array, I'm just iterating over those many times. But you have some object which does not have a different structure. So you cannot calculate the length of it. For those type of cases, you use a while loop. So let's say my a equal to 0 and b equal to 10, and if a is less than 10, print the a value and increment the value a plus plus. Okay, now let's just execute it. You'll get to know. See, so for the very first iteration now, while is the condition, a less than 10 is the condition. So my a value is 0. It'll print a 0 for me. This is the 0. Then next a plus plus. A plus plus means my value is incremented from 0 to 1. 0 plus 1, 1. So again, it'll check the condition. 1 is less than 10. Yes, it'll enter the loop again. System.out.println 1. It'll print 1. Similarly, it'll increment to 2 now. So it'll increment and at last, when a plus plus equal to 9, it'll print until 9. Now a plus plus means 9 plus 1, 10. It'll go to the while loop. 9 is 10 less than 10. So this condition will fail and it'll stop executing. This is the while loop. A simple while loop. So it'll execute until the condition is false. Until your condition is false, this code will keep on execute. So if you put something called as a less than or equal to 10, if you try to execute the code, it will give 10th value. Now 10 equal to 10, this condition will hold true, and in the next iteration, a plus plus will be 11. So 11 less than or equal to 10, this will fail, and the program terminates. So that's the use of a while loop. So this piece of code will be executed only if the condition is true. That's it. And you have something called as a do while loop. So this is almost similar to your while loop, but this will be executed at least once. Meaning int a equal to 0 and int b equal to 0. I have initialized two variables. The syntax is do while. So put a do, open, close the bracket. Let me do this. Do your code while we will pass the condition. That's it. That means first this code will be executed, then it will check for the condition. If the condition is true, it will again execute the code. The only difference between your while loop and the do while loop is in while loop, this condition, like suppose if this condition is failing, it will not even enter the loop. So your code will never execute. But in the do while loop, even though your condition is failing here, this piece of code will be executed at least once. That is called as a do while loop. First executes the statement and then checks the condition. Hence the statement will be executed at least once. Is this clear? The use of while and the do while loop. Why do we use a do while loop is because if you don't know the length of your variables or so, then you go to the while loop, you just put some condition. Based on the condition, it will keep on executing how many times until the condition is failing. That is a while loop. But for a do while loop, it will first execute the statement and then check for the condition. And until the condition is satisfies, it will keep on executing the do loop. Is this clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I just trigger this, run as a Java application. So it didn't check that whether b is less than or equal to -1. It first print it just for sorry, just 2 minutes. It just printed 0 value. It printed 0 value when incremented to b plus plus. It will that is 1. So it will check for the condition 1 less than or equal to -1. This is failing, hence this will never execute. So even though my condition is failing, it executed my code at least once. That is the use of a do while loop. So we have completed the decision making statements and we have completed the loop statements. The remaining statements are break and continue. These are called jump statements. These are also pretty straightforward conditions. Okay. So so let's say I have a simple for loop for I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 10, I plus plus. That means my loop will run from 1 to 10 times. Now, for the first iteration, for int I equal to 1, it entered my if my for loop, and if I equal to 7, 1 is not equal to 7. That's why it did not go into the loop. It printed the line 1 value here. For the next iteration, I plus plus, I value is set to 2, Again, it will check the condition here. Since 2 is not equal to 7, it will go and execute the print statement. So it will execute until 6. After 6, my I value is 7. So 7 equal to 7, it will enter this loop, and I have put a break statement here. That means my whole flow will be broken here now. It will stop the execution there. That's why we don't see any number. Our loop is running from 1 to 10, but since I put a break statement at 7, it stopped at 6. The seventh element will, from seventh element, the program will terminate. That is called a break statement. If you want to terminate your execution flow based on a simple condition, put that condition and issue a break statement. So whenever your code will be executing coolly, whenever something will match this condition, it will simply break the execution. That's it. Is this clear? Break statement.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you. The next is continue statement. So the only difference between break and continue is break will terminate your execution after the condition has been met. But continue means it will only skip that condition and it will execute everything else. Now see, it's the same loop for I equal to 1, I less than 10, and I plus plus. My loop is running from 1 to 10. And if this condition satisfies, continue. So for the first iteration, I equal to 1, I'm printing one value here. So 1 not equal to 5, it will print 1. 2 not equal to 5, it will print 2. 3 not equal to 5, it will print 3. At the fifth iteration, I equal to 5, I put a continue statement. So it will not print 5. It will skip this condition. Like whenever this condition is met, it will skip the below line and it will again go to your for loop. It will continue the execution. It will only skip the execution of this condition. So if you want to break something based on a particular condition, use a break statement. If you want to, like, if you don't want any output based on a particular condition, simply put that condition and issue a continue statement. So whenever this condition is met, the code execution will stop there and it will continue for the next iteration. So because here I equal to 5, if I put I equal to 8, sorry. Control Z. Java application. So it'll execute, and whenever my I value reaches 8, it will skip the 8 number and it'll again continue to print 9 and 10. That's the only difference between a break and a continue statement. Clear?
Yeah.
Yep, thank you. If this is clear, we'll be reaching the end. In the end, we have something called as Java comments. So comments are used to make the program more readable by adding just details of the source code. So suppose if you're working on a project and you have thousands and thousands of lines of code, and if you're implementing a new functionality, if we put a comment, right, just a simple comment, okay, the below code is written to solve so and so bug. The below code is written to implement a new functionality. If you put it this way, tomorrow when a new developer is coming and working on your code, it will be easy for that developer to understand your piece of code. Similarly, you also, when you're going to work on a piece of code, by reading the comments, you'll get to know that, okay, so and so line is doing something. So it is very important to write meaningful comments in a meaningful format. So we have 3 types of comments in Java. That's a single line comment, a multi-line comment, and a documentation comment. So each and every comment will have its own significance. Now let's say this is called as a documentation comment. If I put a slash, double star, and if I press enter, it will automatically populate the author. And this class is for continue statement concept. Okay, let's put it this way, a simple documentation comment for me. Now if I hover on my continue class, it will show me this. Author is Bhavyant, and what is the class going to do? This class is for continue statement concept. It is teaching the concepts of continue statement. So similarly, whenever you're working on larger piece of codes, right? Whenever you hover on a class name, it will tell you who is the author of the class and what is the class string. That is called as a documentation comment. And you have noticed that I'm using this single line comment everywhere. This piece of code will not be executed because it is a comment. But if I want to tell you something, or if I want to at least what you call mention something that okay, so and so is doing something, I'm just putting it as a single line comment, so that when you're reading the code, it will be easy for you. It will skip and continue the flow. So this piece of code will not be executed. So whenever you're writing in any comment, always write it after the keyword, not before the keyword. Suppose if I want to write my comment here, my actual statement will not execute. Okay. So if you want to write a comment, always write it after your actual functionality. This is your single line comment. And the last one is your multi-line comment. You put a slash star and press enter, you'll get this. So you can type it. This is a main method to execute continue statement. This is called a multi-line comment. So if you want to explain your method, okay, then you can make use of this multi-line comment. You can simply type, okay, this is this method is written by so and so, and this is written to resolve something, or this is written to implement a new functionality. So this method will take so and so as input, it will provide so and so as the output. So you can edit this way in multi-line comment. If you want to just simply explain a single line of your code, use a single line comment. And if you want to document your whole work itself, use a documentation comment. So this will be used whenever they hover on a class. If you click on Java doc also, this will show you. If you use a Java doc option within your Eclipse, it will show you clearly. This class is written by so and so, and this class will do something. That's it. There is the end of this session. If you have any doubts, please feel free to ping me here in the chat window.